Have you been thinking about maybe giving up alcohol? And it's just been in the back of your mind, maybe mentally it's not serving you anymore. Well, today I'm going to share with you some lessons I've learned from giving up alcohol for 6 months. And if you stay until the very end, I've got an extra point for you then as well. Now, if you want to connect with me even more and find me on social media, I will leave my links in the show notes below as well. So I've just passed the 6 month mark of no alcohol. I feel one of my biggest, I've achieved a lot, thankfully. I'm very grateful to, well, I put in the hard work a lot, with many things in my life, but this is probably one of the top achievements I've done. Now, will I go back to alcohol again? I'll have a drink, yeah, but I'm in a place now where emotionally I'm really feeling great, done a lot of work, and I needed to give up alcohol to do that. And therefore, I've developed a lot more healthier relationship with many things in my life, myself as being the foundation. And the reason I gave up alcohol, because I was in a really I had a lot of challenges last year in 2023. A mixture of personal and professional things that really got me like activated, stressed, anxious, and then really down. And my nervous system was going all over the place. And then I did some work on myself, got myself a coach, and towards the end of the year, went on a retreat, and I started feeling better. And then something happened around New Year, and it activated me into an intense state where my emotions were just really difficult to challenge. I was so angry. And it was a lot of suppressed and repressed things such as grief over the years and loss and abandonment, all these kind of things. And I realized I had to really dive into this, and that's the reason, and work on it. And that's and we're always a work in progress. There just can be periods, I believe, where I really need to focus and do a lot of inner work for it to, continue to allow my life to flow for me. And at that point, after the New Year's incident, I decided to give up alcohol for 6 months, and I committed and I did it. And I'm so pleased I did, because I feel so much better for it. And what I've learned, I'm going to share the lessons, but what I've learned is alcohol, that is not the only thing. There's many things we get attached to, but it's often from a lack of connection when we're, drinking too much of it, or it's making us feel bad. And wanting to feel a certain way, get rid of the negatives in a very quick way as possible and start feeling better. And there are healthier ways of doing that, but sometimes we just see alcohol as the easy route, right? So that's why I do it. And maybe you're someone who's considered. I'm not saying who should and shouldn't drink, because, I've had drinks. I've drunk a lot. I've been very drunk many times in my life. It's made me really down into some serious dark places. But I've also had good nights out, right? And so I have no judgment on anyone drinking at all. And I try and stay away judgments in general, because we often don't know. Even like people who appear to do bad things, we judge and say, I would have never done that. Well, I'm going to say something here that people may not like to hear. Like, yeah, there is some horrific acts, unfortunately, by human beings sometimes in the world, but sometimes someone who mistreats like some situation or isn't that nice, we don't realize the life experiences and scars they have, because I believe if we were in their shoes, sometimes we would have done the same thing if we were scared and coming from that place of fear. So that's why I try and stay away from judgment, because it really creates separation. And when we want to feel more love in general and with ourselves, I really like to hold back judgment and resentment from people as much as possible. So I have not. So I even stopped judging myself from getting extremely drunk and drowning out my sorrows in the past. So wherever you are, if this resonates today, if you're like, maybe I want to try for a bit and go for it. If not, no problem. But I just want to share my own personal story of what I've learned from giving up alcohol for 6 months. The first thing is I realized that I had to connect with myself more. Even when I gave up the alcohol at first, I realized I was finding all other things to grab on. Like I'd be on social media even more. I was trying to get like validation from people on it even more. I was eating bad sugary foods. I was doing anything to distract myself from being with me. So if you get rid of a behavior and you don't start connecting yourself, the chances are, if you haven't got the other like real commitment and accountability in place, the chances are you're going to go back, because we all have a need for connection. And if you don't connect with yourself, you'll find other ways which may not be healthy, like alcohol, like drugs or smoking, that connect you with you, right? The second thing is have a really strong reason why. For me, I was in a really low place, and I knew for people around me, for myself, I had to do a real drive to change my emotions. And so giving up alcohol for 6 months for potentially benefiting the rest of my life was a really strong why. So you have to have a really strong why. It's very cliche in personal growth, but you got to feel it. You don't just have to say, well, it will be good for me. That's not really, for me, a very strong why. So really feel into a strong why. The third thing is nervous system regulation is absolutely critical, because I found myself, when I remember going on a treat end of last year as well, there's no coffee, there's no sugar foods, there was definitely no alcohol or anything. I found my nervous system all over the place. I was activated, I was really super stressed, and I'd be really tired. So being able to operate your nervous system is really key, and a good way to do that is through the breath, or just feeling into states and then cycling around and really regulating that nervous system. The fourth thing, it's really key to pay attention to your environment and the people around you. And I'm quite fortunate, I got a lot of supportive people, but I found myself that if I'd go to football, well, I play football still, but I go to the pub, and really good bunch of lads I play football with and good mates. But like I would try and stay away from being in the pub for too long. I'd go in there, get a soft drink, and then leave. Like even we had our end of season dinner, and I was very fortunate to win player of the season, which I was very happy about because I put a lot of work in. But I made sure I didn't stay too long in the pub and the venue, because as human beings, we adapt to our environment. So if you're surrounded and going to things again and again, it will eventually rub off. So I try to stay away from things I was avoiding. And then the fifth thing, like if you don't train your thoughts, mentally you can drain yourself more than just like physically. So I find like physically, when I've drunk a lot in the past, I could be like feel terrible energetically for like a few days, like even from my early 20s, right? 33 now, but even from my early 20s that'd impact me. But mentally, if you don't train your thoughts, that can really drain your energy as well. So find a way to really work through your thoughts. And the nervous system regulation I spoke of is a really key piece, because if you like take away alcohol, then your thoughts are probably going to be racing for a bit, depending on, you know, how much you have it and things like that. And again, like if you need serious help with like alcohol or some kind of substance or whatever, obviously I'm not a professional, go and seek the help you need. But just for me, I'm just talking about the experience of giving up alcohol for 6 months and how it's the lessons I've learned from it. Final point, I really want to share a lesson I learned, but again, just to mention, if you want to connect with me more, follow me on social media, I've left my links in the show notes below. The final point for me is just keep yourself accountable to something and have a bit of an incentive. This is just a little trick that may help you along the way. Is I told my accountability partner, Nick, I'm going alcohol free for 6 months, and I will pay you, like, I think it was about £100 if I don't complete it. And he said, if I do, he'll donate to charity for me, which is very generous of him. And I'm very blessed to he's going to do that now to Great Ormond Street Children's Charity, very close to my heart. So being accountable and having an incentive is a really big one as well. Okay, now the benefit in general for me going through 6 months of no alcohol is I've connected to myself on a deeper level than I ever imagined or dreamed of. So that's a blessing in itself. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people in your life by working on yourself as a man. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.